Hi, my name is Derrick Terry, and I'm running as a writing candidate for board education. I want to thank CCAC, CCPS, as well as the citizens for allowing us to attend this important event, as well as my fellow candidates for attending. I decided to re-enter Charles County Board of Education as a writing candidate because I still have a lot more to accomplish prior to the general election, and I've learned a lot about the campaign process. I was inundated with closing out my job as a current special educator, my presidential obligations with my fraternity, as well as preparing for my 25th, and I say yes, 25th year of military duty and temporary assignment at the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado. All these things, especially my military duty, took precedent over my personal goals. In addition, I met a lot of supporters and I met a lot of non-supporters that urged me to continue to advocate for youth as well as the teachers and run again in the next primary. So I decided, okay, why do I need to wait for the next primary? Why can't I just enter as a writing candidate? So that's what I did. During my 15 years in the secondary and higher education arena, I've held various positions, such as Special Education Department Chair, Case Manager. I was an IEP Facilitator here at Charles County at Parks and Henson. I was a Special and General Educator. I was a Community College Instructor and also a Testing Coordinator. I've chaired and or attended well over 1,000 IEP meetings, supervised and monitored over 30 special education teachers, paraprofessionals, instructional aides, and instructional assistants and dedicated aides, as well as managed and implemented special education budgets, administered and evaluated and interpreted as well individual assessments, such as the Woodcock-Johnson test. I conducted one-on-one and or group counseling sessions with over 50 emotionally disturbed students. I've developed and implemented functional behavioral assessments, as well as behavioral improvement plans for special education students, as well as conducted and attended over 30 IEP manifestation determination review meetings in the disciplinary process for students that are recommended for short-term or long-term suspension. And I've also oversaw autism as well as emotionally disturbed department. I have a master's in mass communication with a concentration in public relations and my special education professional teaching license, where I'm highly qualified in English. I currently teach Algebra 1, but I've taught basic skills, I've taught physics, I've taught biology, I've taught geometry, I've taught chemistry in the co-teaching and self-contained environment. So what does all this mean to the parents like yourself? It means that I offer a diverse and fresh perspective to the academic core classes, the budget, and a high level of competency, understanding concerning special education, and interpersonal skills that are needed on the board. Whether it's teaching, case managing, or serving as an advocate for parents in Maryland, D.C., or Virginia, I'm consistently advocating for the rights of your child. As a hopeful member of the Board of Education, I want to ensure that not only that the SPED department is transparent, but as well as the board. Understand with new curriculum comes new and unwelcome changes, such as previous No Child Left Behind and the current Common Core. Special education is often overlooked, and regardless of your child's cognitive, physical, or social deficiencies, the powers that be expect your child to achieve at the same level as general education students. As stated in the CCPS Special Education website, the goal is the expectation that students demonstrate levels of competency at the proficient advanced range in their identified curriculum. But if the curriculum is at 8th grade level and your instructional level is at 5th grade level, is that a realistic goal? This is what we as special educators, as well as the school systems, are faced with, whether we're dealing with the Maryland Department of Education or the Department of Education on the federal level. And then sometimes they fail to realize that we have to meet the students where they're at. But at the same time, we need to provide rigorous and meaningful instruction. But it takes a village to raise a child as well as to educate a child. And the parents as well as the child must bear some responsibility in this process. We need to look at the decrease in our funding. We need to look at inadequate resources. As an IEP facilitator here, and they are often overworked. There's misdiagnosis of students with disabilities, and I say this because my brother was labeled ID, well, MR back then, which is ID, and he was bumped into one class. with students who had ED, specific learning disabilities, and this is back in the early 70s. We've evolved since then. Well, for the most part, we've evolved since then, but my mom didn't know the process, she didn't know the language, and she went whatever the military told her. But we need to make sure that we properly and efficiently train our special and general education teachers to deal with our changing demographics. In closing, federal law mandates that every student receive a free and appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment. Parents sometimes have a difficult time trying to interpret new and complex laws and regulations of IDEA, as well as Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. It is my obligation to provide thorough knowledge of the special education process, as well as implementing increased academic progress interventions for all special ed students, as well as educating their families. Simply put, this is what I do every day. As a current special education teacher, a case manager, an advocate, and I will do for your child. I'm Derrick Terry, the right candidate for board education. Thank you.